What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only, Ash Said It. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,700 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this is possible without you guys, so I thank you so very, very much. Hope that you guys are enjoying this wonderful weather that we're having. Hopefully, wherever you are in the world, you're having some good weather. Now, I've got a pretty special lady hanging out with me today. She is an author, a licensed counselor, and a life coach, the wonderful Mary Joye. Hey, Mary.
Hello, Ash. It's so nice to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, Mary, what part of the country are you at today?
I am in sunny Florida, which it rains every afternoon. So right now it's sunny.
You know, it wasn't until I was stationed in Florida until I realized that it was the lightning capital of the United States. I didn't know that.
Why, yes.
I had no idea. I was like, this is going to change up the weekends.
Yes, there is no perfect weather in the world anywhere, especially here. People move here for the weather, and our summers are everyone else's winter.
Oh my goodness.
That's how I put it.
Insane. All right, so Mary, to start things off, what is codependency defined as?
In brief, because it's expanded from the old model of just being with someone who's dependent on a substance. The new model is more of a loss of self while caring for others. And if that's hard to understand, then the symptoms are people-pleasing, approval-seeking, over-responsibility, doing too much for too many too often, exhaustion. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's just a few of the symptoms, but I think people get the gist. So you lose yourself caring for others.
Yes.
I call it narcissism in reverse. Narcissists care about themselves. Codependents only care about other people.
That is an awesome way of looking at it. I never thought about it that way. It totally isn't.
I hadn't either until I wrote a book. I went, oh, this is like narcissism in reverse.
That's a good point there, Mary. So let's talk a little bit about the inspiration behind your latest book project that is it's on pre-sale right now, Codependent Discovery and Recovery 2.0.
Yes. I call it 2.0 because it's a holistic look at codependency. I am a recovered codependent. I say recovered because I actually went to an addictions doctor because codependency is a lot like addiction. There's no pill to treat it.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. But I went to a doctor who was a friend of my father's who was also a doctor. And I learned that I was getting dopamine from saying yes when I meant no and no when I meant yes, and giving and giving and giving. And I had professors that told me I was codependent. So the inspiration was my own recovery out. I lost my brother, and I had to tell my family secrets to the state of Texas because that's where he passed away. And it sort of jolted in me that I had been codependent, that I hadn't quite recovered yet. And so I went on a quest, which led me to a lot of questions, which I answered in that book. And I learned a lot. I did a lot of scientific research. There's evidence-based therapy in there. There's meditations that I call revision exercises, so don't freak out about the meditations. You can just do them eyes wide open as well. They're helpful. And affirmations that will help you. Also, at the end of each chapter is a life list. So you're going to be writing your own self-help with this because so many codependents come to me like I did when I started recovery. I didn't even know who I was or what I wanted anymore, so I started with what I didn't want. And some people have to know what they don't want in order to deduce what they do want. So that's kind of the process of how I was inspired to write the book, not just from my own experience, but in helping others through their codependent crises, because I see at least 3 or 4 people a week in crisis, meaning burnout. They give till they give out. So that's the inspiration, and so people wouldn't have to suffer like I did.
Yes. Now, when I was reading the release on the book, one thing that really stuck out to me was, as you were saying, the evidence, the science behind it. It's so easy for some people to be like, oh, well, just don't do this or just don't do that. But there's actually like a neuroscience aspect of that. Tell us a little bit about that discovery.
I studied under a neuropsychologist. The neuropsychologist in my internship was the one who told me I was codependent. It was like, it's a fine time to tell me. I'm going into an internship at a drug and alcohol rehab, and you're just now telling me I'm codependent. Thank you so much. So I had to learn on my feet, on the job, and that was, oh boy, that was over 20 years ago. So I've learned a lot since then, and I really delved deep into this subject before I felt comfortable releasing something about it. I really wanted to find out to help out.
Yes. So from your aspect and also you being a survivor of it, what would you say are some key signs that someone is codependent?
Well, if really, truly, if you give to, you give out. There are, I call it a constellation or a spectrum of symptoms that people-pleasing we discussed. But if you're always feeling like it's driven by a fear of abandonment, which conversely or simultaneously is what drives a narcissist. So often codependents will get involved with abusive people or batterers or alcoholics or needy people. A codependent needs to be needed, and a narcissist wants to be taken care of. So this dynamic can cause a lot of trouble. And I even put a graph in the, not a graph, but a graph-sized page in the book of comparing and contrasting a narcissist. It's an image that just shows it very easily with a codependent. And it is amazing what drives a narcissist and what attracts a codependent. So this is a trauma bond that attracts them. And there's a lot of neuroscience to a trauma bond. It feels like love, but it's actually a physiological reactivity between two people. And it is mostly subconscious, but both are driven by a fear of abandonment.
So for you, Mary, what was the first step that you took toward your healing process? What was the first step?
I don't know if it was a step or more of a leap, but I can tell you that I went straight into therapy myself after my brother passed away. Actually, I didn't go straight into therapy. I was a therapist. I waited for 10 months, and then I asked my supervisor, that used to be my supervisor, if it was okay to take a break, and he said, "You're asking permission? Are you still that codependent? Is that all I taught you?" So that was the catalyst and the catapult. I took a break. I hiked around the mountains in Sedona for, 3 or 4 weeks by myself, and I started putting pieces, and I began a journal, a very personal journal, which I'm not big on journaling. There's bullet points in the book, so you don't have to journal. But from that journal became the bones and the marrow of what the book is now. I started taking notes of what I was learning, not what I was going through emotionally. That was going to keep me stuck. If I kept focusing on the problem instead of the solution, I would never have come out of this. And there's a quote that gets me through everything in life, because you love science and I do too, and Albert Einstein said it, that you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. So I had to find solutions, and I am a solution-focused therapist. So that the healer needed to be healed. You know, life happens to therapists too, so I was forced to face things from my childhood that I had done, and now I had to learn how to undo them and help other people to undo it as well. I had to take time off. So that was how it began for me, is just to take time off, spend time with myself. I tell people, you're not spending time alone. If you're codependent, you're spending time with yourself, which you probably have never done before, and it feels selfish and narcissistic, and that's the turning point in codependent therapy, when people say, now I feel like the narcissist, now I feel selfish. And I say, welcome to the world of self-care. And they go, so that's an epiphany day. And I had to have the same day, and that's how I could recognize it in them as well.
Absolutely. So last but certainly not least, what do you want readers to get from this book?
You know, it's what I want them to get from every session I do. I genuinely care so much about everybody that I see. And not everyone I see is codependent, of course. But what I want them to extract from this is what I do for a living. I help people listen to themselves. And as I said earlier, at the end of every chapter, there's a bullet point list of what you don't want. And that's on the left side. And then what you do want, you deduce from that on the right side. You know, like 1 to 1, 2 to 2. It's 2 lists.
Right.
And those lists become your own self-help, because at the end of the book, you're going to get rid of what's on the left, so you'll only be left with what's right. And you will keep those for life. I want people to listen to themselves, to listen to their bodies, to pay attention to the tension, to recognize the reactivity so they can neutralize it. I just want people to get in touch with themselves so they can better be of service to others. This isn't about teaching people to say no. It's about teaching people to say yes when they mean it, no when they mean it, and to just be authentic and to keep giving, but to live well while they're doing it.
Right. I love it. Mary Joye, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you so much. And this book is on pre-sale. Please let us know where they can get their pre-sold books.
You can get it on any major bookseller, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, HCI Books. You can buy it directly from them, which is my publisher. They are wonderful. Yeah. They have allowed me to be me, and you just can't ask for more than that. Yeah. And any bookseller will have it after August 31st in stores, but you can pre-order it online. Books A Million, Wham, Indie Books, they're all there.
I love it. Much more success to you and your whole team, Mary. Thank you so much for joining us and sprinkling some knowledge on us today. Definitely appreciate that.
Thank you, Ash. I appreciate it. And everybody stay well and safe out there and enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. That's what this whole book is about, is how you can give and live well and enjoy your life.
That is right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.